welcome to a new one. Oh, bless you.
It's one of those mornings for her.
Oh, bless you again.
So, we are doing Assassination Classroom this month. So the first character we are going to tackle is Nagisa Shiota.
Or Nagisa, however you want to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
So as usual, we're going to start with some background on the character. Now, Nagisa is one of the main protagonists of the show, and he also serves as the narrator for every episode. He is part of class 3E at their middle school, which
means they're subject to a lot of abuse, basically.
they're
ridiculed, they're not treated well by the staff, well, except for their specific teachers, obviously. But the main campus is really, really shitty to them.
In fact, it should also be pointed out that the building that serves as their classrooms is a good distance away from the main campus.
They have to hike up a mountain every day. And there's like no AC, so in the hotter months, not very pleasant. But it's kind of funny though, when you think about it, 'cause like the regular students, whenever they interact with them, are so shitty to them. But as the name Assassination Classroom implies, they're all like in the process of being trained as assassins, and they could kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being mocked by these everyday people who they could kill.
But a lot of them are in class 3E, either because of disciplinary issues or very poor academics. Now, anyway, back to Nagisa. So, when Nagisa was born, his mother actually wanted a girl.
And she never lets him forget that. Like, she tells him that all the time.
Because she wanted a girl to live out the childhood that she never had.
Because her parents were stricter and they wanted her to be more studious, which is fine on its own. But she wanted, to have long hair and dress very girly. And, well, obviously I like the long hair part. And I don't do very girly dress codes, but that was what she wanted, which is fine on its own. But she forces that onto her son, which is not okay.
So Nagisa grew up always having not long hair because it's only down to his shoulders, but
longer hair than is normal for boys.
Yes, and there were parts of his life where she did make him wear girly outfits. And so,
all in all, she's very controlling, and it's never really called as such in the show, but it is abusive. It is very abusive. She will physically attack him if he pisses her off. And it doesn't really do much given his new skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just also very controlling. You will go to this school, you will have these pastimes, and her justification is, I gave birth to you, you're living in my house, you're eating the food I make, that kind of stuff. He compares it to being in an RPG that's her, and she's the player, and he's just the root.
Anyway, so all of her controlling attitude eventually did become too much for Nagisa's father, and he did end up leaving the family. And Nagisa suffered academically.
He got booted to 3E.
Mm-hmm. Where he was again the subject of ridicule because of...
They were his classmates were nicer to him, but there were a couple that did mock him for looking very girly, and
yeah, his androgyny did not help him at all.
So, but he excels with the assassination stuff. He is one of the best in the class. You could probably make a good argument that he is the best.
Mm-hmm. Which is very, very funny on its own because Nagisa, he's so nice and he tries to get along with everyone, and
Part of why he's so good is he's so unassuming.
because he looks like a total pacifist, but you
He
don't
is
want to
not.
make him angry.
No, we've seen him very angry in the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pretty.
But yes, as the show progressed, Nagisa does, as Dragon just said, prove to be one of the strongest in the class, and that does give him a little competition with Karma, who shows up later in the anime.
Just by a few episodes.
Mm-hmm. And so the whole point of their training is they have to kill their teacher, Koro Sensei, by the 13th of March, I believe it is. But,
Well, date aside, it's before they graduate from middle school because they're in their last year of it.
mm-hmm. Fun fact, in case you didn't know, middle school in Japan is actually only 2 years. I believe I think it's actually 8th and 9th grade instead of...
And Japan has like a weird thing where like the new semester starts in like the wrong place as we would know it. Like we have summer break. You know, you're in grade whatever, and then summer break, and you're in the next grade. There, it's like summer break just kind of cuts your class in half.
Mm-hmm. I think summer break's only 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, at the most.
That is cool.
Japan is very strict on their education.
Yeah. But point being, like, they don't do it from, one school year from September to June, like most schools do here.
Mm-hmm. But back to our point. So, toward the end of their final year, the class starts debating over whether or not they should actually
Arias has high, by the way.
they should actually kill Koro Sensei, or if they should try to save him, because as dangerous as he is, he's their teacher, and
they found out some stuff about his past and some more information about what he is, and it leads them to the conclusion that if they wanted to, they did not have to kill him anymore, they could save him.
so the class split in half from this, with Nagisa being the leader of the half that wants to save Koro Sensei, and Karma being in charge of the half who still wants to go through and try and kill him. So Nagisa ends up winning, and they are figuring out how they could possibly save Koro Sensei, but then at the very end, the Japanese Ministry of Defense...
Well, this is spoiler alert territory.
Yes.
God, warn people about these things.
Sorry, spoiler alert. They're basically...
Okay, so what happens is first they're basically put under house arrest. They sneak away,
Mm-hmm.
and there's actually like this really funny thing, cause like, well, it's not funny, it's kind of cool, but like they start texting each other, and like I have to pause watching a lot to read all the texts. I always miss stuff. But it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Then there are little plans. Okay, so students A, B, and C are gonna meet up here to do like to just work out to burn off some steam, and another group is gonna meet up for some other purpose, and then there's planning what they're gonna do because they don't want to just sit on their hands while something bad happens to their teacher. So it's actually really fun to read all these little texts. But so they do go out and hit the mountain where they've been spending, learning. And so one of their instructors, that is my dogs, they're playing. You can ignore that, they're fine. They start taking down all of the combat units sent after them. Arya! And so one of their instructors who works for the government, Karasuma, he says it's not surprising this is their hunting ground. So they take down everyone, and it's a lot of epic scenes for every single one of the characters. And, well, I don't want to go too far because that would spoil the end of the series, but there's a big fight, not with Koro Sensei. An opponent comes that almost kills some of them, and then they have to deal with Koro Sensei at the very end of it all. And then the end is, it's Nagisa has to do the final act, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out at the very end that he becomes the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And he does not grow very tall, which he's very sad about.
No, he cuts his hair, and the classroom that he ends up getting assigned is full of delinquents, but with his skills as an assassin, he puts his students in his
It's
place.
always funny his reaction when people threaten to kill him, or they're like, I'll put my life on the line. He has reaction that's just really? Be careful with what you say, because you don't know. You don't always know who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's Nagisa in the anime series, basically.
Yeah.
So now on to our 3 categories. First, does he work as a character?
Yeah, I have no complaints about him as a character. He's insightful, he has his flaws, he is really passive. It can be annoying how he just lets things happen. But you can't have a character who's perfect, or that in its own is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And he's fun to watch, he has good interactions with the other characters. So yeah.
And I don't know why, but I think characters like him who seem so passive and then you find out just how skilled they are, those are always some of the best because you don't expect it.
Yeah, he's like we said earlier, he's very unassuming, which makes him very effective as an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
His aura is continuously compared to a viper.
And vipers are very deadly, so you don't get what dragon
Facts,
means.
that's
Then
striking. Alright, so the next section is, does he work in his setting?
yeah,
He's a teenager, he acts like a teenager, and he's being trained as an assassin, and we see how that affects him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
He takes to it a lot more than most of the other students, but
He's definitely got some of the most willingness to learn.
well, they're all very willing to learn. I don't remember ever hearing any of them complain about it.
Well, no, but if you watch the anime, you can see him observing, even if it doesn't look like it. I'd say
He takes a lot of notes on strengths and weaknesses of their target.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone goes to him for the notes. So even other assassins that come to kill Koro Sensei ask Nagisa for his notes on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, a list of weaknesses. And they sometimes show up on the top of the screen, and it's weakness number or whatever.
So I guess that brings us to our last category. Do we like him?
He's not my favorite
favorite is.
But he's good.
He is. There's nothing that you can really hate about him, I feel like. I mean, unless you hate someone who's. You're not into passive characters. But I like him, like I said earlier, because you don't expect him to be so good because he's so nice and he seems like he's not a fighter, but he's really got the skills to be an assassin, and to see him just get angry and actually be able to fight like one, it's definitely very surprising, but it's also very cool.
Yeah, although he does have his more annoying moments, like we've established he is very, very good at being an assassin, but he downplays it so much. And like, there's this one instance where he does it, and it pisses off Karma really badly, and he compares it to like a hot chick, you know, telling like other girls you don't gotta worry about your looks. You know, it's something along those lines, and it pisses him off so bad.
Mhm.
Because I think Karma like mostly saw it as, you know, someone who's so naturally talented telling people who have to work at it, oh, it's not a big deal, which is annoying.
It can
And
be,
I
yes.
don't like how he handles the situation with his mother.
No.
Like, he recognizes some of the shit she pulls isn't good, but he, like, instead of calling her out on how horribly she treats him, he's more like, I'm sorry, I'm disobeying.
Yeah, but at the same time,
And I hope you can forgive me one day. And I get that mindset. I do, but I don't like it.
you know,
And
but
it's probably exasperated by the fact she never really gets punishment
mm-mm.
for what she does.
I mean, she does get a little bit better at the end, but
Well, she gets better, but she never really pays for her crime, so to speak.
mm,
So yeah, so I think that's it for Nagisa.
mhm. So, what do you guys think? Have you watched? What do you think of Nagisa?
Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear it. We'll get the next video up soon. We'd appreciate a comment, as Ferry said, a like. Don't really get a lot of those.
No.
And we have a lot of social media stuff, Tumblr, Instagram, the whole shebang, and it is labeled under the same thing as our YouTube channel, so it should be easy to find. There will be links below.
Mhm. Well, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.